So, vile wizard, we meet at last.
Well, noble adventurer, you've slaughtered your way through my slave army.
We did. They were super motivated.
Think yourselves clever for raiding my mines of malice? I see your pouches are bulging with gold.
But we were trying really hard to find you. And we were running a little low on cash.
You have even infiltrated my harem. You even stayed the night. Clever not setting them free.
Why would we do that? I just wanted to give you my resume. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Hey, maybe it's your first time visiting Ted's Basement. It's a place where we like to discuss news, views, and homebrews for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. And sometimes we even talk about other role-playing games.
So if you don't want to miss a single video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and attune to that notification bell.
Alright, so we want to ask the question, is it possible to have a D&D campaign with an evil adventuring party?
It's just so rough. There are so many issues, there's so many things that come up. I know over our long history, we've tried a number of times. I've been in a number of games, and they're just rife with, struggles, with trials, tribulations, both in-game and out of game.
I feel like over the course of our gaming careers or our hobbying together, we've attempted 3 evil campaigns at least together. And I know you've been in some others as well.
I have, literally the first, what we deemed for a long time as a Saturday night group, you ran a game where the players were, definitely more on the evil bent. And it lasted a little while, but we were also, young at that point in time, gaming with, teenagers essentially.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a younger person's thing. More so, it's like the world hasn't gotten to you yet, and you haven't seen all the horrors it has to present to you. But then you get to be a bit older, and you're just like, no, I want something lighthearted, and I want to escape the evils of the real world into this fantasy world.
I'm the DM. Give me some heroes, please. Let's tell an amazing story together and move on.
So we mentioned that there's problems both in the game and out of game. So what are some of the problems with the characters? So
first and foremost, evil characters, they tend to be selfish and conceited, and, they're more in it for, what it is that they're going to do. So they're just as likely to kill the hook, the guy that's giving you the quest, and take what they've got, than they are to just go do the mission.
We kind of joked about doing a different bit coming into this video where we had presented different quest givers and have, the adventurers show up only to murder each one and take their stuff, which kind of stops the adventure from happening, or at least takes it in a very different direction. And it also illustrates the fact that the evil characters are selfish and they just kind of take what they want. And then also, like, another problem in game is problem resolution is much different in an evil campaign than it is in a good campaign. Now, I've seen good campaigns that have broken down as well, but just magnify that in magnitudes when you talk about characters that aren't even designed to be the good guy. People fight and squabble over, loot and treasure and how to handle situations in a regular campaign. Then you add in the fact that maybe your characters don't have any real moral compass, and there isn't really any lines drawn in the sand to what they will or will not do.
The fighter decided that he wanted that magic ring and didn't want to allow the evil wizard to get it. Well, all right, fine. When it comes time to rest, I'm just going to slit his throat, and that character doesn't wake up, and look at that, I've got the ring. That doesn't happen in a good, party, because players are not going to just out murder, a fellow adventurer. But evil characters, I should say, aren't opposed to something like that.
No, yeah, nothing is off the table. So it becomes very problematic for having a cohesive adventuring party that are going to work together. And, I also find that in game, there's always at least that one player that just takes it a bit too far and leans a little bit too into the evil, too into the dark.
And that goes down another way of, what happens if what they're doing is actually making the players, forget the characters, the players uncomfortable at the table.
So these are all issues that can come up, and those are just a few, right? There's even more than that.
Oh, I'm certain.
So even though this video is kind of about dark and evil things, let us tell you about something that's not dark and isn't evil, but the sponsor of this video, and that is the Revlo Kickstarter.
World of Revlo campaign guide and bestiary is, something that's amazing. You have to check this out. I've been a fan of Brian's work for quite some time, and he is the main guy behind all of this. The campaign book, it's over 100 pages. It's going to bring you new races. It's going to bring you new subclasses. It's going to bring you new magic items. There's going to be adventure hooks specific to the setting of the world of Revlo.
It's going to bring you into the world of Revlo.
Oh, that'd be amazing. The bestiary is full of, awesome, amazing things that are unlike anything you've seen before. And the covers of these two books are just out of this world. The moment I saw them, I'm like, Brian, I need to have these books.
The thing that I really enjoy about the world of Revlo is it doesn't strike me as just another generic fantasy setting. It's not Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, or even Middle-earth just regurgitated. This is completely different. The monsters and the races are so new and refreshing. All the colors are so vibrant. And that's just the lore and the world. But the Kickstarter itself has all kinds of stuff that you're going to be able to get as add-ons or depending on your different pledge levels that are just amazing.
They've got acrylic pawns, they've got dice, they've got coins, dice boxes, dice trays, GM screens. It just goes on and on and on. And, you can get as much or as little as you like.
So with that, do us a favor, go down to the link in the description, take a look at the Kickstarter. Even if you're not interested in pledging, I still would urge you to go look at it because Brian's work is amazing.
It's well worth checking it out. Link is down in the description below.
All right, so we kind of discussed and touched on what is the problems that are going to arise because of the evil characters. But what about between players? What problems can arise?
Well, I can't tell you the number of times that a in-game problem has actually gone into an out-of-game problem. And, that previously mentioned that wizard slitting the fighter's throat. Out of game, the player would be like, hey, man, I was just playing my character and you killed him. What the hell? And, it gets into an argument, possibly a physical altercation, a friendship lost, people, not gaming together anymore. Maybe it breaks up the entire gaming group and, friends take sides and it goes into, mega extremes from an in-game, stupid reaction.
Now, also, the other thing that I've seen happen is where the other player makes up characters that are then designed to kill the character that killed them, even though that new character may have nothing to do with the old character or the character that did the killing. So, the feud continues, but now it's a feud not between characters, but it's actually a feud between players.
So it's like, oh, all right, well, I come in with a mage slayer because the wizard killed me, so I've got this feat, this magic item, and this thing, and for some reason, the first time we meet, you rubbed me the wrong way, and now I'm gonna grr, and eventually kill you, and it just, the cycle just continues.
It's not conducive to a happy gaming group. So now we are going to flip to the other side of the screen and talk about, how does a DM keep an evil campaign going? And I feel like there's a lot more burden on a dungeon master for an evil campaign in order to kind of make it work.
So an easy way to do this is to actually have a more of a commanding, officer. All right, you guys are evil, but you're working for somebody. So that the evil wizard is actually the apprentice of the real evil wizard. And he's like, look, you're going to do this mission. You're going to do these evil tasks, blah, 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 blah. And, I need you all to do this, and there will be no squabbling, or, you will regret it, whatever. So you force them to work together begrudgingly, and you can bring that into the role-playing. You can have fun with, be like, all right, I disagree with what you say or what you do, or, that I wanted that, but I'm bound not to actually act out my aggression. And, it tends to work.
Yeah, think DC Comics and Suicide Squad. Right, there's the arcane equivalent to a bomb in each of their heads, and if they get out of line, it's going to explode. Maybe they're magically compelled. Maybe they have to complete a service in order to get their freedom back. or maybe they're trying to reclaim or recapture their souls. All of these are kind of possibilities that would make them work together.
Another easy thing is, what if, the story that's going on winds up tying them together and they all have a common goal. So the minor things of, oh, I want that loot, or, I didn't like that you hit on that NPC that I was friendly with. But when you're all working towards this one common goal, this one tying factor, they can build the bonds together, but they need everyone if their mission is going to be successful.
If your BBEG in this campaign, or it might be BBGG, as the case may be, is tied to each of them, each of their backstories, and they are out to get revenge, but this individual is too powerful for any one of them to tackle alone, so they're going to need help. They have to team up. And for whatever reason, that is way more important to them than whatever minor squabbles, like you said, they have amongst themselves. Or, the idea that they've been promised some kind of reward. And again, that reward is so much better than the magic ring that they could have had, so they're willing to work together. If they free this forgotten god that's been kind of imprisoned, they'll be all raised up and get their own kingdom and get to be rulers in their own right. So there might be some other things that might motivate them to work together. All right, so we kind of discussed why you don't want an evil campaign, and you should absolutely not do an evil campaign. But if you don't want to listen to us, maybe your group's different. Maybe you have a different experience with the game than we've had. We would like to offer up some tools for running an evil campaign.
So I guess, the first and foremost, if you're like us and you really, see that a session 0 can do a lot of amazing stuff for a game, if you get an agreement amongst the players that, look, we're not going to cross this threshold on descriptive violence or these type of actions, we're not going to devolve into PvP, and everyone is aware of what is expected, then I think you can really move forward and have a successful game.
Yeah, this is a case where a social contract is super important so that everyone understands what everyone else's lines are, and you guys and girls all have a box to work within, parameters to follow, so that no one at the table ever feels uncomfortable and isn't having fun, isn't having a good time. I mean, recently circulated online was this DM at a convention who introduced some really horrific and graphic concepts into his game, or their game, and one of the things that they said, they actually enjoyed the shock value. So they didn't want their players to know that there would be topics like gang rape and violence against children and really horrific things to just spring on people. You never want to do that. You want to know who you're playing this game with. The idea is to have fun, for everyone to have fun, not just one person or a few. So everyone needs to come to agreement. No matter what kind of game you want to play, I feel like there's people out there that'll probably play it with you. So seek those people out. Match up the right game to the right group of players.
And with that contract, clearly defined goals. If, where the story is going to go, you don't have to give the party, the players, the specifics, but an idea of, okay, we're all evil. This is kind of the arc that we're looking at. Have these goals determined so that everyone is aware and there aren't those big surprises that are gonna show up, and the shock and awe, and possibly force people to leave the table because they're literally horrified, and grossed out by what it is that you're doing.
And also, that's actually just good advice for any game. We find when there's clear defined beginnings and end, that kind of sets things up and it keeps your games from fizzling and kind of dying out. Whether it's conquer the world or just conquer the tri-state area, whatever it is that your group is looking to do with this particular game, have that goal. Try and meet it, and then after you meet it, if you decide you still want to play that game and it's going well, then you can always continue. With that, what is your experience playing evil characters and evil campaigns? We have a place where you can discuss that. It is down in the comments below. But hey, before you head on out, I want to take a moment to invite you to join the Nerdarchy Adventuring Party, not an evil party, over on Patreon. Ted, what can they find over there?
We're creating products for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons every month that both players and DMs alike can drop right into their game.
But that's not all. We do monthly giveaways. Our patrons get entered automatically.
We also do weekly hangouts with our patrons and more.
So quest on down to the description, join the Nerdarchy adventuring party over on Patreon, and until next time,
Stay nerdy.